Welcome everyone to the 11th lecture on representations of finite groups. So today we are going to discuss representations of the dihedral group. So let us recall what a dihedral group is. We denote it by D2N and it has this following presentation: two generators R and S with the relations R to power n is 1, S square is 1 and S R S is R inverse. Okay, one can think of it as a semi-direct product of cyclic group of order 2 with cyclic group of order n, where the action of cyclic group of order 2 on cyclic group of order n is as in the third relation, and you can actually list down its elements. So it is of order 2n and its elements look like 1 r square, so on, r to the power n minus 1, and then you multiply by s sr square, so on, sr to the power n minus 1. In order to find equivalence classes of irreducible representations of the dihedral group D2n, we need to know its conjugacy classes. So let us first compute all conjugacy classes in D2n. It will turn out that this depends on the parity of n. So let us write it as a theorem. If n is even, let us say n is equals to 2k, where k bigger than or equal to 2, then D2n has k plus 3 conjugacy classes. Let us call this 1. And secondly, if n is odd, let us say n is equals to 2k plus 1, where k bigger than or equal to 1, then D2n has k plus 2 conjugacy classes. So here I am in the case when n is even, I am taking k bigger than or equal to 2, because when k is 1, that means n is 2, therefore the group is of order 4, and the presentation tells you that it is actually the Klein-4 group, which is abelian, and you already know is irreducible representations. All right. And in the other case, for n odd, I am taking k bigger than or equal to 1, because again if k is 0, then n is 1. Okay, and the group is of order 2, there is nothing to do, it's cyclic group of order 2. All right. So we are going to compute the conjugacy classes explicitly. It will be a purely group theoretical computation, but this will also give you an idea how to really proceed for small order groups if you are given the presentation. So let's prove it. First, suppose that n is even. Suppose that n is even. Let us say n is equals to 2k, where k is bigger than or equal to 2. We claim that the conjugacy classes in D2n are the following. We claim that the conjugacy classes in D2n are the following. Okay. Notice here that since n is even, center of the dihedral group D2n is non-trivial, and in fact it is cyclic group of order 2 consisting of element 1 and r to the power k. So therefore central elements will be conjugate to only themselves. Let us say conjugacy class of the identity element is of course the identity element conjugacy class of R, we claim that this consists of the element R and R is inverse. Conjugacy class of R square consists of R square and R to the power minus 2, and so on up to conjugacy class of R to the power k minus 1. It consists of R to the power k minus 1 and its inverse, that is R to the power minus k plus 1. Okay. Now coming to R to the power k, conjugacy class of R to the power k, which is a central element, will be just the element R to the power k itself. Conjugacy class of the element SR consists of elements of the form SR to the power 12 minus 1, odd powers of R, where L is bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k. And finally, there is one more conjugacy class, SR square. Conjugacy class of this consists of elements in the form even powers S into even powers of R, SR to the power 12, where again L bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equals to k. So if we can show that the conjugacy classes are like this, then you can see that there are precisely k plus 3 conjugacy classes, because you have this powers of R gives you precisely k conjugacy classes, then there is a conjugacy class of the identity element, and then conjugacy class of SR and SR square. And the case when n is odd will be similar, and we will leave it as an exercise for the students. So let's prove it. We split the proof into various claims. So let us write claim 1. Claim 1 is conjugacy class of R to the power m is precisely these two elements, R to the power m and R to the power minus m. Okay, for each m bigger than or equals to 1 and less than or equals to k minus 1. So let's prove it. So obviously the element R to the power m falls inside the conjugacy class of R to the power m. We show that the element R to the power minus m also lies in the conjugacy class of R to the power m. Consider the element x equals to s r to the power, let us say t, okay, in the dihedral group d to n. Then we have x inverse r to the power m x, that is same as r to the power minus t s r to the power m s r to the power t. We club s and r to the power m together. In d to n we have s r s equals to r inverse. This implies that s r to the power m s is same as s r s whole to the power m. This is same as r to the power minus m, which implies that s into r to the power m can be written as r to the power minus m times s. We use it here. I can replace this by r to the power minus t. Now s r to the power m I replace by r to the power minus m into s, and then here it is s into r to the power t. S into s become s square, that get cancelled. So what we get is r to the power minus m. We have shown that r to the power minus m is a conjugate of r to the power m. This implies that r to the power minus m is also an element of the conjugacy class of r to the power m. So we have shown that the right hand side is contained in the left hand side. We show that each conjugate of r to the power m is actually contained in this set. That will prove our claim 1. Now any conjugate of r to the power m will look like x inverse r to the power m x, where x is an arbitrary element of D2n. But an element of D2n, we know either it is a power of r or it is s times a power of r. So we will consider both the cases. Let us take, say, x is equals to r to the power t in D2n. Then if we compute directly, we see that x inverse r to the power m x in this case is nothing but r to the power m itself, okay, and that certainly belong to r to the power m, r to the power minus m. And if your x is of the form s into r to the power t, then x inverse r to the power m x is same as r to the power minus m, which again belong to this set, r to the power m, r to the power minus m. This follows from star. Okay, this proves our claim 1. Let's prove claim 2 now. We say that the conjugacy class of the element SR is this set, which consists of elements of the form s into odd powers of r, SR to the power 2l minus 1, where l is bigger than equal to 1, less than equal to k. Let us take a conjugate of SR. So if x is just of the form some r to the power t, then what is x inverse SR x? It is of the form which we can write as r to the power minus t into s times r to the power t plus 1. Recall that in the dihedral group we have s r s is equals to r inverse. In fact, we have s r to the power t s is r to the power minus t, but that is equivalent to saying that s r to the power t is same as r to the power minus t times s. So this is what we are going to use here. So this same as s into r to the power t into r to the power t plus 1, right? But then it becomes what? It becomes s into r to the power 2t plus 1. Since n equal to 2k is even, it follows that 2t plus 1 is congruent to 2l minus 1 mod 2k for some l bigger than equal to 1 and less than equal to k. Okay. Thus, in this case, the conjugate of SR is as in the right hand side of the claim. Now let us conjugate SR by other element which is of the form SR to the power t. So if conjugating element is of the form s into r to the power t, then x inverse SR x, when you compute it, we see that it is of the form r to the power minus t into s, s into r into s r to the power t. There is a cancellation of s here, and this is same as r to the power minus t plus 1 into s into r to the power t. Again, use the relation that I have written on the right hand side. This is same as r to the power minus t plus 1 into r to the power minus t into s. This takes the shape r to the power minus 2t plus 1 times s. You can use that relation again and write it in the form equal to s times the negative of the power of r, s times r to the power of 2t minus 1. Again, 2t minus 1 is congruent to 12 minus 1 mod 2k. Okay, for some L bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equals to k. This shows that each conjugate of SR is of the form S r to the power 12 minus 1 for some L bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k. Let us prove the converse. Next, we prove that this set S r to the power of 12 minus 1, where L is bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k, is contained in the conjugacy class of the element SR. We proceed by induction. Use induction on L. Okay. So, of course, if L is equals to 1, then the element is nothing but S into R, which of course falls in its conjugacy class SR. Suppose that S r to the power 12 minus 1 is in the conjugacy class of the element SL for each L bigger than 1 and less than k. We will show it for L plus 1. Notice that R times this element S r to the power of 12 plus 1 is same as S r to the power of 12 plus 1 times R inverse. It follows easily from again the third relation in dihedral group. Okay. Consider this element S r to the power of 12 plus 1. My claim is that this is a conjugate of SR, right. So, from the preceding identity we can write it as this as R inverse S r to power 12 plus 1 times R inverse. It can be written as R inverse into S r to the power 12. One R get cancelled, but that I can write it as R inverse into S r to the power of 12 minus 1 times R. By induction hypothesis, S into r to the power 12 minus 1 is some conjugate of SR is equals to X inverse SR times X, okay, for some X in the dihedral group D to N. This implies that S into r to the power of 12 plus 1, which I have written it as R inverse into SR to the power 12 minus 1 into R, is same as R inverse, and here I replace it by X inverse SR into X times R, but that is same as XR whole inverse SR into XR, which is again a conjugate of SR. This proves our claim 2. This proves claim 2. And we can prove the claim 3 similarly, which is that the conjugacy class of SR square is nothing but elements of the form SR to the power of 2L, where L is bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k. Thus, if n is even, we have computed all the conjugacy classes in the dihedral group D2n, and our direct count tells that there are precisely k plus 3 conjugacy classes in D2n when n is even. So, this proves the first part of the theorem. Second part of the theorem is analogous and is left as an exercise. Thus, we have computed the conjugacy classes in the dihedral group explicitly, and we know the precise number of conjugacy classes in the dihedral group. Therefore, we know the number of equivalence classes of irreducible representations of the dihedral group. Recall that each degree 1 representation of a finite group, degree 1 representation of a finite group arises from a degree 1 representation of its abelianization. A degree 1 representation of its abelianization. Okay. What is abelianization of a group G? So, given a group G and take its commutator subgroup GG, its commutator subgroup, then G mod the commutator subgroup GG is always abelian. Okay. Since G mod the commutator subgroup is abelian, all its irreducible representations are going to be one dimensional. So, let us now compute the commutator subgroup of this. So, let us now determine the commutator subgroup of the dihedral group D2n. The commutator subgroup of the dihedral group D2n, this is the cyclic subgroup generated by R square. Very simple result. Let us prove it. We will first show that each commutator in the dihedral group D2n lies in the cyclic subgroup generated by R square. This will show that the commutator subgroup itself is sitting inside the subgroup generated by R square. So, let us say x equals to SR to the power say t and y equals to say SR to the power L. Then what is the commutator xy? Commutator xy turns out to be same as R to the power minus t s R to the power minus L s R to the power t into S R to the power L. S will get cancelled. This is same as R to the power minus t into S R to the power minus L plus t into S into R to the power L. Now, we will use relation in the dihedral group and bring these two S together. So, therefore, using the relation that we have used earlier in the computation of conjugacy classes in the dihedral group, we get R to the power L minus t into S into R to the power L. S get cancelled, and you see that this turns out to be R to the power of 2 times of L minus t, which certainly belong to the subgroup generated by R square. Okay. Similarly, if say x is of the form S R to the power t and y is just some R to the power L, then what do you get? Then commutator of xy is of the form r to the power minus t into s r to the power minus l s into r to the power t and r to the power l. Again we bring this s together, so this implies it is r to the power minus t r to the power l into s r to the power t into r to the power l. This get cancelled and this is same as r to the power 2l, which again belong to the subgroup generated by r square. Similarly, you can consider the other possibilities when both x and y are of the form r to the power t and r to the power l, and when x is r to the power t and y is s r to the power l. It will follow that in each case the commutators are in the cyclic subgroup generated by r square. Thus, we get that the commutator subgroup D2n is sitting inside the cyclic subgroup generated by r square. To prove the converse implication, it is enough to show that r square is a commutator. So, let us take x equals to r, y equal to s, then we compute the commutator xy. By definition, this is r inverse s rs. Using the relation in the dihedral group, it is same as r inverse into r inverse, that is r to the power minus 2. Notice that if you have a generator of a cyclic group, then its inverse is also a generator, right. So, we have shown that r to the power minus 2 is a commutator. So, this hence it follows that the commutator subgroup of the dihedral group D2n is precisely the cyclic subgroup generated by r square. Very nice description. Having computed the commutator subgroup of the dihedral group, let us analyze the abelianization of the dihedral group. So, we now have the commutator subgroup D2n is the cyclic subgroup generated by r square. So, abelianization will again depend on the parity of n. So, if n is even, then what is this cyclic subgroup generated by r square? R square, this will consist of powers of r square. So, as I said, it will be r square, r4, r6, so on, and it will go all the way up to r to the power 2k, which will be 1. Okay. Hence, the abelianization D2n modulo the commutator subgroup D2n in this case is isomorphic to the group generated by the coset of S, which we denote by S bar, and notice that R does not lie in the subgroup generated by R square. So, R will survive and R will give you a non-trivial representative in the quotient. So, it will be generated by coset of R bar, where S bar satisfies the identity S bar square is 1 and R bar satisfies the identity R bar square is 1, and the commutation in this case, the relation in this case will be just commutation. So, S bar R bar is R bar S bar. So, this in fact will be isomorphic to the Klein 4 group Z mod 2Z times Z mod 2Z. And if n is odd, let us say n equals to 2k plus 1 for k say bigger than or equal to 1, then one can check that the subgroup generated by R square in this case will be the whole of the cyclic subgroup generated by R, because you will get even powers R square, R to the power 4, so on, and then you will go all the way up to R to the power of 2k, and then you will go to R to the power 2k plus 2, but 2k plus 1 vanishes, therefore it will be R, you retrieve R, and then when you multiply by R square again, it will be R cube, and so on. Okay. So you will get all the elements of the cyclic subgroup generated by R. So hence in this case the abylinization D2N mod is commutator subgroup, is isomorphic to the subgroup generated by coset of S bar, which is cyclic group of order 2. And we know all irreducible representations for any cyclic group. In fact, for the Klein 4 group we computed in one of the lectures. So composing the quotient map pi from D to N to D2N modulo the commutator with the irreducible representations of the Klein 4 group and the cyclic group of order 2 will give all degree 1 representations of the dihedral group D2N. Go. Having computed the commutator subgroup of the dihedral group D2N, we can now write down the degree 1 representations of the dihedral group. So let us record them in this proposition. If n is even, then D2N has 4 degree 1 irreducible representations. Notice that in degree 1 inequivalent means distinct as functions. So proof is basically I will write down the representations explicitly. So if n is even, then we know that the abylinization D2N mod the commutator subgroup D2N is isomorphic to the subgroup generated by the in fact it is the subgroup generated by the cosets of S bar and R bar, and it is isomorphic to Z mod 2Z times Z mod 2Z. Okay, the Klein 4 group. Just find out the degree 1 representations of abylinization and then they will pull back to the degree 1 representations of the dihedral group D2N. By the way, for the Klein 4 group we already computed all the degree 1 representations. So exactly those are the ones which we have to consider, and if you want to be precise and want to write in terms of representations from D2N to C star, you can write them explicitly. So let us call them as say phi 1 from D2N to C star by the following rule. So phi 1 of R is 1 and phi 1 of S is also 1, the trivial representation. Every group admits the trivial degree 1 representation. Phi 2 from D2N to C star by this rule. Phi 2, I am just defining it on generators. So phi 2 of R, set it as 1, and phi 2 of S is minus 1. Phi 3 from D2N to C star by phi 3 of R equals to minus 1, and phi 3 of S is equals to 1, and phi 4 from D2N to C star, phi 4 of R equals to minus 1, and phi 4 S is equals to -1. One can easily check that all of these are in fact homomorphisms, and since they are degree 1, they are all irreducible. Since they all are distinct as functions, they all are inequivalent. We arrive at them by looking at the abelianization, because we know that the abelianization is simply z mod 2z times z mod 2z, and for z mod 2z these are the representations. Okay, if you write one copy of z mod 2z as generated by, say, generator A and other generated by B, then there are 4 elements, right? 1, A, B and AB. Okay, and you just map them in this fashion, that is, the first one is map A to 1 and B to 1, and second is map A to 1 and B to -1, third is map A to -1 B to 1, and fourth is map A and B both to -1, and then compose with the quotient map from D to N to D to N mod its commutator subgroup. Since the maps are all distinct, they are inequivalent. They are inequivalent representations. This proves the proposition. Similarly, one can compute all irreducible degree 1 representations of the dihedral group when n is odd. Proposition. So if n is odd, then D to N has 2 degree 1 irreducible representations. The abelianization in this case, that is D to N mod the commutator subgroup D to N comma D to N, in this case is the cyclic subgroup generated by class coset of S bar, okay, and that is just cyclic group of order 2, Z mod 2Z. So we define, so one is obviously a trivial representation, so D to N to C star, just map phi 1 of S to be 1 and phi 1 of R also to be the complex number 1, and define phi 2 from D to N to C star by phi 2 of S to be the non-trivial one, that is -1, and phi 2 of R to be 1. Since phi 1 and phi 2 are degree 1 maps, they are irreducible, and since they are distinct as maps, they are inequivalent. Thus phi 1 and phi 2 are inequivalent irreducible representations of the dihedral group D to N when n is odd. There are precisely 2 such. Now, in order to compute other irreducible representations of the dihedral group, we will use one of the exercises. Recall that if phi from G to GLV is an irreducible representation of a group G, and A is any abelian subgroup of G, subgroup of G, then degree of the representation phi, then degree of the representation phi is at most the index of A in G, cardinality of G mod A. We are of course assuming our groups are finite. Is that the dihedral group D2n has this abelian subgroup, namely the subgroup generated by the element R. Let us call it A. Thus, the degree of any irreducible representation of D2n is bounded above by index of A in D2n. Okay, but we know order of D2n is 2n and order of A is n, so that is 2. So the degree of any irreducible representation of the dihedral group D2n is either 1 or 2. We have already computed all the degree 1 representations of the dihedral group, and we know that if n is even, then there are 4 such representations, and if n is odd, then there are 2 such degree 1 representations. But we also computed the number of conjugacy classes in the dihedral group, which is pretty big depending on the parity of n. So there are definitely many degree 2 representations of the dihedral group D2n. So let us compute them now. So theorem, if n is even, let us say n equals to 2k, k bigger than or equal to 2, then the degree 2 irreducible representations of the dihedral group D2n are given by the following. Let us write them as psi m from D2n to GL2C with, we just define it on generators, with psi m of R is equals to this 2 by 2 matrix e to power 2 pi m I by n 0 0 e to power minus 2 pi m I by n, and psi m of S is this matrix 0 1 1 0, where m is bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equals to k minus 1. Recall that if n equal to 2k, then the dihedral group has k plus 3 conjugacy classes, and in this case we have already computed 4 irreducible degree 1 representations. If we show that all these psi m's, m bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k minus 1, are irreducible, then we have this k minus 1 degree 2 irreducible representations. So k minus 1 plus those remaining 4 becomes k plus 3. So we get all possible irreducible representations of the dihedral group D2n when n is even. Okay. Similar result will hold for n odd. Proof: for each m bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k minus 1, we have this map psi m from D to n to GL to C, defined by psi m of R is this matrix e to power 2 m pi I by n 0 0 e to power minus 2 m pi I by n. and psi m of s equals to this matrix 0 1 1 0. If we call this matrix as say A and call this matrix as B, we can check that A to the power n is the identity matrix, B square is the identity matrix, and B A B is A inverse. This implies that each of these map psi m is a homomorphism or a representation of the group. To show that psi m is irreducible, we will use the irreducibility criteria. We use the irreducibility criteria that a representation phi is irreducible if and only if inner product of its character with itself is 1. Let us set say omega m to be this complex number e to power 2 m pi I by n. Omega m is an nth root of unity. In fact, any power of omega m is an nth root of unity. So we are going to use some elementary properties of roots of unity in complex numbers. Recall that if zeta not equal to 1 is an nth root of unity, then we have this identity, that is zeta to power n minus 1 plus zeta to power n minus 2 plus zeta plus 1 equal to 0. This follows because zeta to the power n is 1, being nth root of unity. Therefore 0 is same as zeta to power n minus 1, which can be written as zeta minus 1 times zeta to power n minus 1 plus n minus 2 plus so on plus zeta plus 1. But zeta minus 1 is non-zero, therefore you have this identity. Hence omega m also satisfies this identity. Hence omega m to the power n minus 1 plus omega m to the power n minus 2 plus so on plus omega m plus 1 should be equal to 0. We are going to use this fact. In fact, any power of omega m will also satisfy this, provided that that power of omega m is not equals to 1. Recall that we have already calculated conjugacy classes in the dihedral group D2n. So let us write down a part of the character table of the dihedral group D2n corresponding to the representation psi m. So we have the conjugacy class of the identity element, then conjugacy class of the element R, conjugacy class of the element R square, and so on, conjugacy class of the element R to the power k minus 1, and then conjugacy class of the element R, conjugacy class of the element SR, and finally conjugacy class of the element SR square. Here we have character of psi m. Now character value at the identity of the group is degree of the representation, so it is 2. We know that psi m of R is a matrix A and its trace is simply omega m plus omega m bar. Psi m of r square will be psi m of r whole square, that is a square, and the trace of this matrix is omega m square plus omega m bar square. Okay, you can directly just compute the square of the matrix and higher powers and so on, and as you go like this you get the trace of the matrix a to the power k minus 1 will be omega m to the power k minus 1 plus omega m bar to the power k minus 1. Character value of psi m at r to the power k is trace of the matrix a to the power k, and which is omega m to the power k plus omega m bar to the power k. Computing the value of the representation psi m at SR, we see that it is psi m of S into psi m of R, that is the product of the matrix B times A, and you can check that its trace is 0. Similarly, trace at SR square is also 0. So thus we have found the trace of the representation psi m at the representatives of the conjugacy classes of the dihedral group. So we can now compute the inner product of the character psi m with itself. Let us now compute the inner product of the character chi of psi m with itself. So we compute chi of psi m, which is same as 1 by order of the group G, that is 1 by 2n, and then chi of psi m at powers of r, let us say r to the power j, into chi of psi m r to the power j and its conjugate. And now what powers of j we are taking? Observe that in the representatives of the conjugacy classes in the dihedral group, the power j run from 1 to k. In fact, we can take it to be 0 also. 0th power will give the identity element. So this summation, this j run from 0 to k, and then because in the definition of the inner product we have to evaluate the characters at each group element, but now because they are class functions, so it is enough to evaluate on a representative of the conjugacy class and just multiply by the number of elements in that class. Alright, so let us use some intermediate notation Cj. Then there were two additional conjugacy classes, namely the conjugacy class of the element Sr and the conjugacy class of the element Sr square, and each of them has precisely k elements. So that is k times chi of psi m of Sr into chi of psi m of Sr bar plus k times chi of psi m of Sr square into chi of psi m of Sr square bar, where Cj is the number of elements in the conjugacy class represented by r to the power j. Alright, we know the values of the Cj's. So what is C0? C0 is the conjugacy class of the identity element. It has only one element because it is central. Similarly, what is Ck? Conjugacy class of r to the power k. It has only r to the power k because it is central element. So this is also 1. And then Cj's, remaining Cj's are precisely 2. Recall that the conjugacy class of r to the power j consists of r to the power j and r to the power minus j for j bigger than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to k minus 1. So Cj is 2 for all j bigger than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to k minus 1. So therefore this becomes 1 by 2n summation. So I separate out the case Cj equals to 1. That means chi of psi m at 1 into chi of psi m at 1 bar, but the character value at the identity is degree of the representation, so it is 2 into 2, 2 square, plus then again Cj for j from 1 to k minus 1 is 2, so it is 2 times the remaining sum I just write as it is, j from 1 to k minus 1. In the previous slide we computed chi of psi m at powers of Rj. We know it is same as omega mj plus omega m bar j, alright, and its conjugate, but conjugate is the same element, therefore it just becomes square, plus omega m to the power k plus omega m to the power k bar multiplied by is complex conjugate, which is the same, therefore it is just square, plus k times character value at SR multiplied by its conjugate plus k times character value of SR square multiplied by its conjugate, but we know that character value at these group elements is 0, so this does not give anything. So this is the total sum. So let us try to simplify this. This is equals to 1 by 2n into 4 plus 2 times summation j from 1 to k minus 1. That just open up this square, it become omega m to the power 2j plus summation j from 1 to k minus 1, 2 times of this, into omega m to the power minus 2j plus 2 times of this product, omega m to the power j times omega m to the power j bar, right, but omega m is a root of unity, and so therefore the element multiplied by bar is the absolute value, which is just 1, so it is plus 2 times summation j from 1 to k minus 1 of 2, alright, plus now here omega m to the power k plus omega m to the power k bar whole square. When you square it, it become omega m to the power 2k, but 2k is n, so which is basically 1 actually. Similarly, omega m to the power 2k bar, that also 1, plus 2 times of omega m to the power k into omega m to the power k bar. But notice here that omega m is a nth root of unity where n is 2k. Therefore, omega m to the power k bar is same as omega m to the power k, because k is exactly half of n and omega m is the nth root of unity. So this is just same as 4 times of omega m to the power 2k. Notice that omega m to the power 2k is 1, but I want to just keep it in this form because I want to use the expression that the sum of the powers of a non-trivial root of unity is 0. Let us simplify it further. So this is same as 1 by 2n 4 plus, consider this circled expression and bring it here, this becomes 4 times k minus 1 plus then 2 times summation j from 1 to k minus 1 of omega m to the power 2j, plus observe that since omega m is the nth root of unity, omega m bar to the power t is same as omega m to the power n minus t. for each t bigger than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to k. In fact, the same thing happens for any nth root of unity, in particular for any power of omega m, as long as this power is not equals to 1. Therefore, we can replace this expression as follows. Therefore, we can replace this expression by summation j from 1 to k minus 1 and omega m to the power omega m square to the power n minus j, that is same as omega m to the power 2 times n minus j, 4 times omega m to the power 2k. Let us simplify it further. So this is same as 1 by 2n, we cancel 4 here, so it become 4k, plus write the first summation here, so that is 2 times summation j from 1 to k minus 1, and then it is omega m to the power 2j, plus consider the second summation. The second summation we rewrite in this form, it is 2 times summation j from k plus 1 to n minus 1, okay, and it become again omega m to the power 2j. Alright, and now for the last term, which is 4 times omega m to the power 2k, I separate out 2 times omega m to the power 2k, so I write it as 2 times omega m to the power 2k, plus the remaining 2 times omega m to the power 2k is just 2, because omega m to the power 2k is nothing but omega m to the power n, which is of course 1. Now observe the following. Consider this sum. This is simply 2 times sum of powers of omega m square, where the powers go from 0 to n minus 1, right? And omega m square is also a non-trivial nth root of unity. Therefore, this expression is 0. Note that summation j going from 0 to n minus 1 of omega m to the power 2j is 0. Alright, since omega m square is not equals to 1 and it is a nth root of unity, hence inner product of chi of psi m with itself, chi of psi m is equals to 1 by 2n times of 4k, it is precisely 1. This shows that the representation psi m is irreducible, and this happens for each m from 1 to k minus 1. Hence, psi m is an irreducible representation of the dihedral group D2n. Next, we show that all these psi m's are inequivalent. Consider chi of psi m evaluated at r. We know that this is just same as omega m plus omega m bar, which is same as writing the value of the complex exponential. We see that this is same as 2 times cosine of m pi by k. Notice that m pi by k is bigger than or equal to pi by k, which is of course bigger than or equal to 0, and this is less than or equals to k minus 1 pi by k, which is of course less than or equal to pi. Alright, because m is bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k minus 1, and cosine is injective in this domain, is injective on the interval close interval 0 to pi. If you recall the graph of cosine, you have 0, pi by 2 and pi, minus 1, 1. Cosine graph go like this. Alright, so cosine is injective in this interval. Thus, if m and m prime are two integers bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equal to k minus 1, such that m not equals to m prime, then cosine m pi by k is not equals to cosine m prime pi by k, which implies that chi of psi m at r is not same as chi of psi of m prime at r. Therefore, the characters of the representation psi m and psi m prime are distinct as functions. Therefore, the representations psi m and psi m prime cannot be equivalent. This completes the proof of the theorem. Next, I will state a similar theorem when n is odd. If n equals to 2k plus 1, where k bigger than or equal to 1, then the dihedral group D2n has the following inequivalent degree 2 representations. And they are given by again psi m from D to n to GL to C, where psi m at R is this matrix e to power 2 m pi I by n 0 0 e to power minus 2 m pi I by n, and psi m of S is a matrix 0 1 1 0 for m bigger than or equal to 1, less than or equals to k. The proof of this theorem is similar to the one done for an even, so we will skip it. And notice that once we have shown that all these representations, degree 2 representations, are inequivalent and irreducible, and there are k of them, but we already found two inequivalent degree 1 representations of the dihedral group D2n when n is odd. This gives k plus 2 inequivalent irreducible representations of the dihedral group D2n for n odd. I hope this gives you some idea how to proceed for a given group once you know its presentation and once you know enough information about its structure. So I will stop here. Thank you.